his now.
Yeah. So first things, I just cue my dog to turn him on when I use my my collar. You can see he really wants to put it on because this starts the game. The big thing that separates like why he can do this so easily and why I've been able to move down the signals and progression of signals that I give to him, and I'll talk about signals a little bit for you as best I can in this short video, is because that's what everything is to me. It's not like I'm not beating him into it or not like hoping to just capture the moment. I have some capturing and things that have gone on, but everything is a signal that I've given him, and then it turns eventually into a verbal signal and a pattern of behavior that I want. So I taught him opposition reflex, meaning that he knows how to back up when I pull forward on the leash. Or like in this circumstance, I'm going to take my arm out here, and he's going to oppose it and go here to the heel position. So, but I can also verbally cue him first before, but if he messes up, I can always use the leash for opposition. So you'll see me moving my leash forward instead of backwards, which you might be used to seeing somebody do. And again, I'm not using it like a correction. I'm using it like I'm just putting a leash pressure on, more like a signal, it's like I'm touching him. So I'll go ahead and I'll show you a couple different ways. I don't have to say anything, so you understand that that's where the leash pressure comes in. But I also then, as time goes, you want to say it first. So like in his circumstance, I could just tell him, "Puss!" and he'll go into the heel position, and he understands that. But that's because he knows how to find it, right? So here, and so I'll also show you without saying the verbal, and I'll just use the leash, and you'll watch him move into position. So I just kind of pulled the leash forward, and you saw how when he found the right spot, I turned it off. So he understands, like when I pull forward and we move, like that's how he moves to turn off the leash pressure. The leash pressure is extremely light. It's just, think of it as me touching somebody to guide them somewhere. I don't want to pull them or push them. I'm not doing that. I'm just showing him like that's not the right spot. Like this is the right spot. And when it turns off, why he's so happy to do it is because it always typically leads to a reward. At this point, his reward schedule's spread out really far, and it's randomized, so I don't have to. I'm not rewarding for every single time I go leash pressure. Like I just told him to look up by giving him a leash pressure up. I didn't like pop it or anything like that, but just showed him the same thing. Like if I'm going to turn, I'll just leash pressure, and you'll see him go into that turn, and he's not in the right spot. So I give him. I do another jingle too as well, where I just kind of jingle it, show him where he's supposed to be in the right position. But again, like I said, all my leash pressure is just a lead-in signal to tell him that that's not the right spot, and whenever it goes off, that's the right spot, and out will come a reward. And like I said, at this point, the reward is randomized and far down the road. So anyway, I can do a lot of different things here to show you. Like what you need to do is about finding the foos game is I move this around. I let him learn like 90-degree positions, or just up here, or just even like I think of this as like hours on a clock, right? When I first start moving my angles, and so I think of this as a clock hands, and I'm just trying to go maybe like 1 hour at a time when I make my lefts, and I just start. For him, that's a really small movement. Come on, up here. So he's just kind of, I try to make little bite sizes things when I'm trying to first make a dog move their butt, and that's it. That's all I'm looking for. Come on, up here into the hand. So don't try to take off like a big spin or something, where he's back up. He's kind of crazy, so I apologize. This video is gonna suck. He's been on break for the past few weeks, just taking a rest. So tonight, like right now, as you saw me putting the collar on, this is the first time he's been out in, I don't know, almost a month. So, but don't try to bite off like a whole spinny thing all at once, and try to make that make that accurate. Just start off with all you're looking for is this little butt to move. So start off by just a slight movement like that, or you can say sit and make him stay in the sit position. Sit. Sorry. Sit. So make him sit and turn yourself just off camber. I know this is sit. So I'll try to keep him there so you can see on this camera angle, but I'll turn myself just slightly off camber and then get him to find the heel position. So then you could start, if you're on verbal, you could tell him fuss and he'll move into position. Or if he doesn't, then you can, like I said, you can learn leash pressure, or you can do shoulder movements. All those are signals you give to your dogs that you eventually want to fade. Obviously, I can't go into a trial giving a leash pressure or a shoulder movement, so I have to be verbal, right? So as I go, He's very, very verbal at this stage. I don't have to do much to say "foos" and just start turning, and he's gonna go. We're pretty much on my verbal cue, which is what I want, and follow where I'm going with my left hip or my more of my body center is what I'm looking for, rather than like a specific leg. Like people go like, oh, you have your left leg. I'm like, I don't really want my left leg. He won't actually start moving. It's not with my left leg. He'll start moving with my body as it goes up, and that's what I'm really looking for. So if you see my body lean, he'll move up with that, and not necessarily like my feet, either one of them or anything. And that's because I don't want my dog forging on my feet, because you get people who take like a big front step and their dog is out here, and they start forging, they are forging. So I'd rather him move on my body. So that's what I'm looking for him to do, is move on the center of my body versus move on my feet or my foot, right? I don't really care about the dog moving there. I care about him moving with my body. So like he just didn't move there, probably because I'm talking too much and not giving him 100% either. Hey, that's a little unfair to ask 100% of your dog and then give it to him. But anyhow, play a lot of these games, like find the heel position games. I do like slide steps, make a move, and I'll slide, and not just like turn where they're angled like into me wrong, but I can turn, and he'll actually have to come in and find the right position. So like I can step off, camber, and then see how he moved his butt as well. He didn't just he's wrong. So I'm gonna give him like leash, come on. He has to find his correct position straight with me as well. So I'm gonna slide like out and over and see how he doesn't just kind of slide, but he'll actually have to kick his butt to where he's straight as well. So you see him move his rear end on the end there. That's what I'm kind of looking for him to be able to do as well. And that's kind of like the biggest key with everything I'm doing from the very beginning. When I teach biomechanics and how to move their butt, as I want to see their butt learn to kick, and so that they have the ability to do that. And then once they have the ability to do that, I want them to learn to turn. I teach them perching so they can learn to what I call cranking with my hand. I'll put food on the outs and I crank them, and they need to lure with my hand, but they learn the neck crank, and they start fading those signals up and down the chain of body signals that I give the dog. And like I said, I eventually I fade them all out as quickly as I can to be completely verbal, or it's just my body that I'm going to be giving the signals from in a trial, which are completely trial legit. I don't want to give any handler help, but my body, just all of its natural motion is the dog's handler help. So, which is not, it's just, that's what he's supposed to be doing, is following my body. So I'm not trying to give like any hard steps or shoulder turns or hand motions or anything like that. I want him to actually key off of my body itself. Is when my body moves, is when my body moves, that he moves with it. So and he comes into that, not because my shoulders turn or my head turns. Shut up! All those are head, or handler helps that aren't good for a trial, so I have to fade all those out. But I want my body to still be the signal, and after my verbal, once my verbal cue comes in. So that's the idea, to get him just to understand the move with me. Back up. And understand all the signals and where you're supposed to be in position. So I hope that kind of helps. But I'd play a lot of these games with him on like finding heel position, things like that. Yep. And so your dog can kind of get oh, you idiot. But so that you can get kind of a good idea and understanding of where the heel position is. Don't try to go so far as like getting him to go on long heeling or anything that he doesn't understand. Start small. You could even down him or sit him, like I said, and call him in the foos position, and then when he's not there, show him like you're not there yet. Give him little pops on the leash or little leash pressures, things to any kind of signal, manual, mechanical with the leash that you can give him that he's not correct. And then as soon as he gets correct in the pressure, add the reward. So, like for example of that, out. So, plus. Sit. example of that is like, I'll just use leash pressure to show you, hey, stop it. And I'll use my clicker to kind of show you when he's right and when he's wrong. What I'll do, and this is just adding the pressure, taking off the pressure and adding the positive. So like I'll move and I'll give him the leash. So until he's right, I'll release, I'll mark, and I'll reward. Yep. Hope that makes sense. So I'll move, give him a couple seconds, or I'll give him my verbal signal. I give him a couple seconds, you know, real quick ones to comply. If he doesn't, I add the leash to get correct. As soon as he gets to where he's exactly correct, where I want him to be, I turn that pressure off. I release the pressure, and then mark, then reward. And you notice I wasn't in a hurry to kind of go from one progression to the other. I let the leash pressure go on until he was absolutely correct. His butt was down. I released that, and then I marked, and then I rewarded. And I have a little second or so between every one of those things so that it gets clear, and he's building his expectation of what's coming next. Anyway, ooh, he got me good on my thumb there that first time on the ball. That's what you get when you're a few weeks off of break and he doesn't have his head all about him. Anyway, hopefully that helps you. Like I said, find a lot of find heel position games, turning games, like make little movements, things like that, and hopefully you can get a better handle on where your healing position is, and him actually understanding where Foos is or where heel position is, instead of just kind of he goes where Foos is, or he kind of walks by me, or he stays by me, and he has this. He needs a really strong, powerful understanding of if I move, he has to be there. If I move forward, he has to be there. If I slide backwards or kick off camber or anything like that, he has to be there. And then be getting to that exact correct position. You saw his little break led him to a little bit of getting behind me a little bit, and he had to fix himself back up forward. That's easier and better to deal with than him too kicked out or something like that, where I have to get him back in and again and again. So easy fixes to get a dog that overcorrects than a dog that gives you less effort. Anyhow, message me or text me or email me or whatever if you have any questions about any more of that. Sound good?